So this is factored form. We talked about vertex form last time. This looks a little bit different. So we have our two factors, and we have a number in front. Okay, so here's an example. We have 3 times x plus 4 times x minus 3. This is factored form. So if we get something like this, we can still graph our quadratic function. I know this is quadratic because when I look here, if I do x times x, if I redistribute my factors, if I do x times x, I'll get x squared. So anytime I see x squared, that tells me it's a quadratic. Okay. Do you guys remember the shape name of a quadratic function? What is that shape called?
I know it starts with a P.
It starts with a P. Good.
Remember it.
This is just like trivia. Sorry? No, that's a word that has the same forward and backwards. So I guess this could be a palindrome because it's the same forward and backwards.
I don't remember the word. I know it starts with a P though.
Good. It starts with P. Anyone else? This is just trivia. This is called a parabola.
Hey,
does that sound familiar? Okay, so anytime we have a quadratic, that shape is called a parabola. I'm going to ask you that next time too, so try to remember. All right, so we talked about this a little bit last time. We're going to still use this in factored form. If there's no number there, that just means it's a positive 1. So it's positive here, there's no negative, so it's going to face up. If we have a negative in the front, any kind of negative number, here we have -1, then it's going to point down. Okay, so we still use that in this case. Okay, let me delete my. I can't do that. That's okay. All right, so what we're going to do is we have our factored form. The first thing that we're going to do is set both of these factors equal to 0. So we're looking for when is y 0. This is going to tell us where the parabola crosses this x-axis. When y is 0, what is x? So I need to take these. I'm going to write them out over here. Turn on my pen. We have x plus 2. Set that equal to 0. And we have x minus 2. And set that equal to 0. And then we need to solve for x. So if we have plus 2, we need x by itself. We're going to subtract 2 from both sides. So now we have x is equal to -2. So we can write this point right here. So 1, 2. When x is -2, y is 0. And we have this other one. We have x minus 2 is 0. So we're going to add a 2 to both sides. We'll just make that part of our line. So now we have x, this goes to 0, is equal to 2. So that's where this other side crosses the x-axis. Okay, questions on that? So that's our first step. We need to figure out the zeros. These are zeros because it's when y is 0. Where does it cross the x-axis? Okay, the next thing that we need to do is find this thing called the axis of symmetry. So a parabola is symmetrical. So if we cut it down the middle, we can fold it over and all the points would line up. Okay. So we have these two x-intercepts, and we just have to find the middle. This one's easy because we can look and see 1.2 points, 1.2 points. The axis is at 0. So this is our axis is at x equals 0. Okay. So we need to figure out the axis of symmetry. The axis of symmetry is important because the vertex, this is our point down here, the vertex has to be on the axis of symmetry. Okay. It can't be anywhere else. So that tells us where our vertex is. We can also count these points up. So the distance between these points is 1, 2, 2, it won't draw there, 2, 3, 4. So 4, and then we cut 4 in half, that's 2. So 2 away from both of these would be the middle. So if it's a trickier problem, you can add up the distance and divide by 2 for the axis of symmetry. Okay, the next thing that we need to do is we need to plug in our axis of symmetry. So our axis of symmetry is at x equals 0. And then wherever we see x, we write 0. So here we've done that. So instead of writing x, we write 0, 0 plus 2, 0 minus 2. And if we do this math, we have 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. So then our vertex is at 0, negative 4. And our vertex is on that axis of symmetry. Okay, questions? All right. Let me just swing the door. Okay, that's all. Let's go ahead and practice some of these on our homework. Maybe Sean, will you pass one over to Susan? Oh, sorry. You got it. Oh, you got it. Here. I feel like one of these buttons must be full screen, but I don't know. What does this do? I don't know. Do you guys know how to make it full screen? Maybe there's mode. Oops. Okay, we'll try this. This looks like one full screen. Oops. Without all the buttons on the side. Oops, but it doesn't want to go full screen.
Bottom right button doesn't work? Yeah, no.
That's a focus button.
Oh, wow.
I thought that did it too. That means you can have grids. Maybe I
That's
should
the 3 lines.
close it and reopen it.
Oh, there you go.
Where are these ones?
No, you're good now.
Okay. All right. Oh, that's better. Now it's kind of dark. Okay, sorry about that. It's bothering me. I can't get it to do that. Okay, so we're gonna start with number 1 on the front side. So be careful. This has 2 number 1s. I don't know why it's numbered like that. But we're gonna start with number 1 on the front side by the name. Okay. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to find where it crosses the x-axis. So we just take these 2 parentheses and we set both of them equal to 0. So I'm going to have x plus 3 is 0. And I'm going to have, leave some room, and then I have x minus 1 is 0. Good, I heard we're going to subtract 3 on both sides. And we're going to get x is negative 3, so we can put that right there. Right on the dot. And then we have x minus 1, so we're going to add 1 to both sides. So x is 1. And if you can see that without doing the math, that's fine. It really helps me to do the algebra. So I'm going to do that, but if you don't need to do that, if you can just see you switch the sign, that's fine. Okay, so the first thing that we did, we found x-intercepts. So we found when x is 1 and when x is -3, x is -3, those are our x-intercepts. Okay, the next thing that we need to do is find the middle of these 2 points. That's called our x-intercept. So this one's pretty easy too. I can just go 1, 2, 1, 2. That looks like the middle. Okay, if that didn't work, we could go 1, 2, 3, 4, divide by 2. So then the middle will be 2 away from both of those points. So I'm going to draw a line right there. That's my axis of symmetry. So that axis of symmetry, I know that the vertex has to be somewhere on this line. Okay, that's why this axis of symmetry is important. So my axis of symmetry is x is -1. It looks like that happened at -1. And then right away, I can take this number, this axis of symmetry, the vertex has to have the same x. So this number I can put right here, because the vertex has to show up on the axis of symmetry. Okay, so I guess the second thing was find the axis of symmetry. And that's just the middle of those points. Okay. Questions so far? Are you guys seeing where the numbers are coming from? We're good? Okay. All right, the last thing, maybe not the last thing, the third thing that we're going to do is we have to take this number, the axis of symmetry x, and we're going to put in, anytime we see x, we're going to put it in there. So I'm going to write it at the bottom, so I can put it here. So I'm going to rewrite this, but instead of writing x, I'm going to write -1. So I have y is, then I have a 2, then I have a parenthesis, then I have x. Instead of writing x, I'm going to write -1. And then I have +3, and parenthesis, then I have another parenthesis, and then I have x. Instead of writing x, I'm going to write -1. Then -1. So then I'm going to simplify. I just need to figure out what is y when I plug in -1. So just simplify now. So we've got, I'm just write 2, that I didn't have to simplify, and then 3 minus 1, that's 2. And then -1 and another -1, that's going to be -2. That's a multiply. So 2 times 2 is 4, times -2 is -8. So this tells me when x is -1, y is -8. So I've got -1, -8, and this vertex hits our x-axis, or excuse me, our axis of symmetry. Now we've got our 3 points, we can draw our parabola in. Okay. Then we need to go back through and make sure we've answered all these questions. So the first one, and we could do this one without doing the graph. Does this open up or down? Oh, I think. Yeah, good. So it opens up because it's a positive number. This 2 is positive, so it opens up. Okay, is the vertex a maximum or a minimum? So remember down here, this is our vertex. Is this a minimum? So the minimum's at the bottom. A maximum's at the top. Is this one a minimum or a maximum?
Minimum.
Good. So we just have to circle minimum. Good. Okay, then the last thing we have to do, we have to write the domain and the range. So we've been practicing that. Can somebody remind us what is the domain? How do we remember what is domain?
Left to right.
Good. Left to right. So for this problem, our left point, we run into this arrow. So what does that mean?
Infinity.
Good, we've got our -infinity. And then our rightmost point is also an arrow, so that's going to be positive infinity. Okay, I'm going to give you a hint. All of the domains on this are going to be the same because we have quadratics. The range will change. The range is not going to be the same. But domain will be the same for all of these. All right, now we're going to talk about the range. So domain was left to right. What's range?
Up to down.
Good, up and down. So it's the lowest point to the highest point. So bottom to top. So bottom point, what's our lowest point?
-8.
Good, we hit -8. So -8, and that is part of our graph, so I'm going to put a square bracket. What's the highest point that we can have?
Infinity.
Infinity. And we're going to put a soft bracket because we can't ever get to infinity. And then we're done. Questions on number 1 on the front. Okay, so look through these, see if there's any that you want to do together. We're going to do one more together, but if you want to pick the one we do together, we can do that. Number 2 on the back. 2 on the back. Okay, let's do that. So I'm going to flip it over. 2 on the back. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is what? What do we need to do first?
You need to figure out where the x is.
Good, the x-intercepts. Good, so we're going to set these equal to 0. So x minus 2 is 0. Find when that is true, or find when x minus 10 is 0. So solve for that. So I'm going to add 2 on both sides here. X is 2. I'm going to add 10 on both sides here. X is 10. So my x-intercepts, I can write those. I have x is 2, and when x is 10. So I have 2, and I have 10. Okay, good. We're off to a good start. We've got 2 of our 3 points that we need. What is the next step?
Find the axis of symmetry.
Good. Find that axis of symmetry. Oops, I write that axis. Symmetry. So it's just the middle of those points. Alright, the 2 points. So here's our 2 points. What's in the middle of 2 and 10? We can just kind of scoot over. Does it look like 6 to you? Okay, so I think that's true too. So I'm going to draw my axis of symmetry on x equals 6. This is our vertical line. So axis of symmetry is x is 6. Okay, and we can take this number, pick it up, and it's going to be the same as this vertex x. Because the vertex has to come on this axis of symmetry. Okay, what's our third thing? I'm going to write number 3 over here.
The vertex.
Good, we need to find the vertex. So we're going to find we need this y. We have x, we need y. So we're just going to plug in, anytime we see x, we're going to plug in 6. So we have y is 1 over 4 times, instead of writing x, I'm going to write 6 minus 2 parentheses. And I have an x, I don't want to write that, I want to write 6 minus 10. Then I'm going to simplify. So first I'm going to write 1/4, and then 6 minus 2, good, and it's going to be 4, just positive 4. Okay, and then we have 6 minus 10. Good, -4. Okay, so this is really 4 divided by 4 times -4. So what's that going to be?
Just -4.
Good, just -4. So we have a 4 on the top here, we have a 4 on the bottom, they can cancel. And we only have 4 left. Or excuse me, -4. You guys got that? We're okay? Okay. And that number goes up here. So when x is 6, y is -4, that's our vertex. We can go ahead and draw that in. Okay. Then we need to answer these questions. So is this going to open up or down? Good. This should be up because, I don't know, that's just up. This one's up. And it's positive, so it's up. Is this a maximum or a minimum? this vertex? Is that the bottom or the top?
Whatever, it's minimum.
Good, it's a minimum.
Good
Good,
job.
it's at the
Every
bottom.
person answered.
It's at the bottom, so it's a minimum. It's hard, there's not very many of us here today. Okay, and then the domain, we're gonna go from infinity to infinity, left to right, so we can just write negative infinity to infinity. And then our range, what's our lowest point? Looks like -4 to me, that's included, and then we go to infinity. Okay, questions on that? Do you guys think that you can do those from going forward? Okay. All right, we have, how much time do we have? We have 40 minutes left, so you guys should be able to finish that. You have 6 left to do. So once you're done, go ahead and submit it on Canvas. There's a key, I'll put the key up here. There's also, the key is also on Canvas.